A warm welcome. Today's conversation will be about how to regain vitality and joy without resorting to heroic efforts or strict restrictions. Sometimes it seems we're doing everything right for our health, following the doctor's instructions, diligently taking our medications. But do we ever stop to think if the place where we store them might be undermining all our efforts? You know, that convenient little cabinet above the sink in the bathroom, or perhaps that shelf right next to the shower? Seems like the perfect spot, doesn't it? Right there where you brush your teeth. But here's the thing, that steamy, warm environment you create every time you take a shower or a hot bath, it's like a tiny, invisible demolition crew for your pills and capsules. The heat and humidity work away day after day, potentially breaking down the active ingredients, making your medications less effective, sometimes even causing pills to crumble or stick together like stubborn clumps of damp sand. It's like leaving a delicate silk scarf out in the rain and sun. It just won't be the same. Think about those painkillers that don't seem to kick in as quickly, or that blood pressure medication that isn't keeping your numbers quite as steady as it used to. Could the culprit be hiding in plain sight, right there in your bathroom? Today, I want to share not just why this happens, but also what simple, easy changes you can make. Changes that have brought real relief and peace of mind to people just like us. We'll talk about finding a truly safe home for your medications so they can work exactly as they're supposed to, giving you the energy and well-being you deserve. Stay with me, because the third story I'll share was a real eye-opener, a true wake-up call that changed everything for one gentleman, and it might just do the same for you. So, the first big enemy in the bathroom storage story is heat. Think about how warm your bathroom gets, especially after a nice, long, hot shower or bath. It feels comfortable to us, but for many medications, it's like being put in a slow cooker. My advice is simple. Find a consistently cool, dry place instead. A dresser drawer in your bedroom, a shelf in a linen closet away from vents, or even a dedicated box on your nightstand. Let me tell you about Arthur. He's 72. Arthur is meticulous, a real creature of habit, especially about his heart medication. For years, he kept his pills in the bathroom cabinet. It just made sense, part of his morning routine. But over time, he started noticing. He felt a little less steady on his feet, occasional dizzy spells he hadn't had before. He'd check his pressure, take his pills religiously, but something was off. He felt frustrated, doing everything right, but not feeling right. He even mentioned it to his doctor, but initial checks didn't show anything obvious. Arthur started to worry, that quiet anxiety that nags at you. Was the medicine not strong enough anymore? Was something else going wrong? Then, during a chat with his pharmacist while picking up a refill, the pharmacist casually asked where he stored his meds. When Arthur mentioned the bathroom cabinet, the pharmacist's eyebrows shot up. He explained how the fluctuating heat, even just from a daily shower, could slowly degrade the chemical structure of the pills over weeks and months. It wasn't drastic, not like leaving them on a radiator, but a slow, steady weakening. Arthur was skeptical at first. Could such a small thing really matter? But he decided to try it. He moved his pill bottle to his bedside table drawer, next to his reading glasses. And you know what? Within about 2 or 3 weeks, Arthur noticed a change. The slight dizziness faded. He felt steadier, more like his old self. It wasn't a miracle cure, but the medication seemed to be working consistently again. The physiological reason is simple. Heat speeds up chemical reactions, including the ones that break down active ingredients in drugs, essentially reducing the dose you're actually getting. It's like trying to build a sturdy wall with bricks that have sat in the hot sun too long. They become brittle and unreliable. For Arthur, moving his pills wasn't just about storage. It was about regaining confidence in his treatment and getting back his sense of stability. So, take a moment right now, maybe pause this video and just think, where are your medications? Are they feeling the heat? But heat is only half the battle in the bathroom. The other hidden enemy, closely related to shower heat, is humidity. All that steam creates a moist environment, like a constant fog, for your pills and capsules. It might not seem like much, but it can be just as damaging as heat. So my recommendation here is to choose a spot that is consistently dry. If the kitchen is your preferred location, use a cabinet, but make sure it's far away from the sink, kettle, dishwasher, and stove. all sources of moisture and heat. Otherwise, stick with that bedroom dresser or linen closet. Consider Eleanor, 68, managing her arthritis with daily tablets. Like Arthur, she kept them on a little shelf inside the bathroom cabinet for convenience. She started noticing that sometimes the pills in the bottle looked a bit odd, occasionally stuck together or looking slightly chalky around the edges. A couple of times, a pill even crumbled slightly as she tipped it into her hand. Eleanor, being practical, just brushed it off. Maybe a bad batch, she'd think, or just sigh, feeling it was another minor nuisance of aging. She felt a bit of resignation, that, well, what can you do? Feeling. She still took the medicine, of course, but perhaps with a tiny seed of doubt. One weekend, her daughter, Sarah, came to visit. After Sarah took a long shower, the bathroom was full of steam. When Eleanor opened the cabinet to get something else, Sarah noticed the pill bottle. "Mom," she said gently, "do you always keep your pills in here? It gets so humid." Eleanor initially waved it away. "Oh, it's fine, dear. They've been there forever." But Sarah persisted, explaining how moisture could damage the pills themselves. Eleanor was dubious. "It's just a little steam. Can it really hurt that much?" Reluctantly, mostly to appease Sarah, Eleanor moved her current bottle to a dedicated kitchen cabinet, the one she used for dry goods like flour and pasta, away from the damp areas. When she opened her next new bottle and stored it there from the start, she noticed the difference. The pills stayed perfectly separate, smooth and hard. No more chalkiness, no crumbling. It clicked then. The moisture had been physically affecting them. Physiologically, moisture can prematurely soften or dissolve tablet coatings, cause pills to swell and disintegrate, or make capsules sticky and leaky. This doesn't just make them unpleasant. It can affect how quickly, or even if the medication is absorbed properly in your body. Imagine leaving saltine crackers out on a humid day. They lose their crispness, become soft and unappealing, just not the same. For Eleanor, that simple change meant an end to the guesswork about the integrity of her medication. Protecting your pills from dampness is like giving them a sturdy little house instead of leaving them out in a drizzling rain. Are your pills staying dry? And this brings us to a point that really hit home for me and for a gentleman named George, age 75. We've talked about heat and humidity making medications less effective, but sometimes less effective isn't just inconvenient, it can be genuinely risky. This story is why the title mentions a wake-up call. My advice here isn't about a new place, but about understanding the seriousness of why the bathroom is the wrong place, especially for critical medications. George was battling a stubborn bacterial infection that just wouldn't clear up. His doctor prescribed a course of antibiotics. George, a creature of habit, kept the bottle right there in his bathroom cabinet, next to his shaving cream. He took the pills exactly as prescribed, finished the entire course, but he didn't feel fully better. The infection seemed to retreat a bit, but then creep back. He felt drained, weak, and increasingly worried. Had the infection become resistant? Was his immune system failing? That feeling of helplessness when your body isn't responding as it should is incredibly unsettling, isn't it? He went back to his doctor, frustrated and concerned. The doctor was initially puzzled, too. They discussed symptoms, dosage, compliance. Then the doctor asked, almost as an aside, "George, where exactly are you storing these antibiotic pills?" When George replied, "In the bathroom cabinet, Doc. It's easier to remember that way." The doctor paused. He looked George straight in the eye and explained very clearly and firmly how the combination of heat and humidity in a bathroom could severely degrade certain medications, especially antibiotics. He said, "George, it's possible that by the end of the course, you might as well have been taking sugar pills. The active ingredient could have significantly degraded." That was the wake-up call. The sudden, stark realization that he'd prolonged his own illness, endured weeks of feeling unwell, not because the medicine was wrong or his body had failed him, but simply because of where he kept the bottle. It wasn't just about inconvenience anymore. It was about treatment potentially failing when he needed it most. George felt a flush of embarrassment, but mostly a profound sense of relief that there was a simple explanation and a simple fix. From that day on, George became vigilant about his medication storage. Everything went into a cool, dry box on his bedroom closet shelf. Later, when he unfortunately needed antibiotics for a different issue, he stored them correctly. The difference was night and day. The medication worked quickly, decisively. He got better fast. Physiologically, some drugs are incredibly sensitive. Antibiotics, nitroglycerin for heart conditions, insulin, even aspirin. They can dramatically lose their potency when exposed to heat and moisture. Relying on compromised medication in a critical situation is like counting on a leaky lifeboat. George's experience taught him, and hopefully it teaches us, that proper storage isn't just good practice. It's essential for effective treatment. That experience really changed George's perspective. Let it be a gentle reminder for all of us. Our health depends on these medications working at full strength. Beyond effectiveness, there's another critically important reason to get those medications out of the bathroom: safety, especially if grandchildren visit or you have curious pets. Bathrooms are often accessible, and counters or low cabinets are easy targets for little explorers. The clear advice: store all medications securely out of sight and, crucially, out of reach. A high shelf in a closet or even a simple lockbox offers peace of mind. Let me share a story about Margaret, 70, who adores having her grandchildren visit. Her home is usually filled with their laughter. For convenience, she kept her daily blood pressure pills, colorful little things, in a pretty ceramic dish on the edge of the bathroom counter. It looked harmless, almost decorative. One afternoon, while she was in the kitchen, her 4-year-old grandson, Leo, went exploring. Margaret heard the bathroom door creak and went to check. Her heart leaped into her throat. There was Leo, on his tiptoes, reaching for that dish of colorful candies. Margaret pulled him away just in time, her hands trembling. Leo was just being curious, of course. He didn't understand. But the image of what could have happened, the what if, shook Margaret to her core. She felt a wave of nausea, realizing how close a call it had been. The convenience she'd prioritized could have led to tragedy. That feeling of near panic, followed by immense guilt, is something no grandparent ever wants to experience. That very evening, Margaret gathered up every single medication in the house, not just her prescriptions, but over-the-counter pain relievers, allergy pills, everything. She cleared a high shelf in her bedroom closet, well out of reach, and designated it strictly for medications. For her heart medication, she even bought a small, inexpensive lockbox, just for extra security. The practical change was immediate. No more tempting targets for little hands. But the psychological shift was even bigger. A deep sense of relief washed over her, replacing an anxiety she hadn't fully realized she was carrying. Physiologically, it's simple. Preventing access prevents accidental ingestion, a terrifyingly common reason for emergency room visits for young children. Think of medications like you think of cleaning supplies or sharp knives, necessary tools for adults, but requiring storage with caution and awareness of who might encounter them. Margaret learned that day that the safety of her loved ones was far more important than saving a few seconds in her morning routine. A moment's convenience is never worth risking the safety of a child or pet. Let's make our homes safe havens in every way. So, we've established the bathroom is out. But just stashing them away isn't always the perfect solution either, especially if you're juggling multiple pills at different times. Sometimes, out of sight can become out of mind. The key is finding a storage spot that is both safe, cool, dry, secure, and works with your daily rhythm. Tying medication time to another daily habit can be incredibly helpful. Using a weekly pill organizer is also a fantastic tool. Consider David, 78, juggling several different prescriptions for various conditions. Having heard a talk about the dangers of bathroom storage, he became very diligent. He found what he thought was the perfect spot, the top shelf of the linen closet in the hallway. Cool, check. Dry, check. Safe from grandkids, absolutely. The problem? It was too out of the way. He'd get distracted, forget to walk down the hall, and realize hours later he'd missed his morning dose, or forget if he had taken his evening one. He started feeling disorganized, a bit flustered, and worried about the missed doses. He noticed his blood pressure readings weren't as stable as they should be. He felt like he'd solved one problem: bad storage, only to create another: poor compliance. Does that feeling of forgetting something important sound familiar? His wife, Helen, noticed his frustration. She suggested they get a weekly pill organizer, one of those plastic boxes with compartments for each day, sometimes even morning, noon, and night. Every Sunday evening, they made it a little ritual. Sitting down together, they'd sort out his pills for the week ahead. Then, David kept the filled organizer right on his nightstand, next to his alarm clock and glass of water. It was visible when he woke up and when he went to bed. The change was remarkable. David rarely missed a dose after that. The visual cue of the organizer, tied directly to the actions of waking up and getting ready for bed, made his routine almost automatic. He felt much more in control, less anxious, and his health numbers stabilized. The psychology is simple. We are creatures of habit. By integrating medication taking into an existing, concrete routine, like turning off the alarm or preparing for sleep, and providing a clear visual reminder, the pill box, compliance improves significantly. The pill organizer became like a friendly, silent helper, gently nudging him without adding stress. Finding the right safe place means finding that balance, protected from harm, but accessible to your memory and routine. Make your routine your ally. Find that sweet spot where safety meets reliable habit. Perhaps a pill organizer is the simple tool you need. Finally, let's touch on something many of us enjoy: travel. Whether visiting family, exploring new places, or just a weekend getaway, managing medications on the go requires some thought, and those bathroom habits we avoid at home definitely don't apply to hotel bathrooms either. The critical travel tip: always keep your essential medications in your carry-on bag or purse. Never pack them in checked luggage. Using their original bottles is often best for identification, but a clearly labeled pill organizer for the duration of the trip is also practical. Let me tell you about Susan, 65. She was incredibly excited about a long-planned trip to visit her sister across the country. She carefully packed her suitcase, making sure her thyroid medication, something she absolutely needed daily, was tucked safely inside, protected amongst her clothes. She checked her bag at the airport and boarded the plane, dreaming of reunions and sightseeing. But when she arrived, her suitcase wasn't there. The airline had lost it. Panic set in immediately. Not just annoyance about clothes, but real fear about being without her essential medication. The first 2 days of her visit were overshadowed by stress. Frantic phone calls back home to her doctor, navigating an unfamiliar pharmacy system in a new city, the unexpected expense of getting an emergency prescription filled. That feeling of vulnerability, being away from home without the health support you rely on, cast a huge shadow over what should have been a joyful time. The relief when her suitcase finally turned up was immense, but the lesson was learned the hard way. Susan vowed then and there, never again. Now, when she travels, her medications are the first thing she packs, right into her purse or carry-on bag. She uses a small, sturdy travel pill case, clearly labeled, that holds exactly what she needs for the trip, plus a couple of extra days' worth, just in case. She also keeps a copy of her prescription with her. The physiological need is clear. Interrupting essential medications like thyroid hormones, insulin, or heart drugs, even for a day or two, can have serious health consequences. But the psychological benefit of knowing your health essentials are safe and with you is enormous. Checked luggage can be delayed, lost, or subjected to extreme temperatures in the cargo hold. Remember our talk about heat? Keeping your medication close is like keeping your passport or wallet close. It's simply too important to leave to chance. Travel should be about enjoyment, not anxiety. A little planning ensures your health stays on track, wherever your adventures take you. So, there we have it. We've journeyed through the steamy environment of the bathroom cabinet, heard stories of how heat, humidity, and even simple convenience can unintentionally sabotage our efforts to stay healthy, and discovered simple, practical alternatives. From Arthur regaining his stability, Eleanor ensuring her pills were intact, George getting his wake-up call, Margaret protecting her grandson, David finding his routine, to Susan traveling with peace of mind. These aren't just stories, they are reminders of the small hinges upon which the large doors of well-being can swing. Moving your medications might seem like such a tiny change, almost insignificant in the grand scheme of things. But as we've seen, it can make a world of difference in ensuring your treatment works effectively and safely. You, with all your wisdom and life experience, deserve to feel your absolute best, to have the energy and vitality to enjoy every day. You're entitled to treatment that works at its full potential. Taking this simple step, finding that cool, dry, safe spot for your medications, is an act of self-care, an investment in your own health and peace of mind. Take that step today. You absolutely have the power to make these positive changes, and you deserve all the benefits that come with them.